if you think about longevity, then I think there's an interesting view on longevity because it's not necessarily that you want to live forever. It's being able to do the things that you like to do for longer and having that quality of life that means you will sleep through the night, that you can digest your food without feeling like you're so bloated and uncomfortable, that you can have the energy to do things as well. So it is the food, food is fuel really, whatever you eat, but there's certain levels of it and that understanding. And then of course your genetic testing and your genetic predisposition is just that another layer of, I guess, yeah, equipping you with that knowledge of why your body does what it does. Because it's mad when you look into it. Our brain, like we've touched very, very lightly on the understanding of your brain and how it's all impacting. But there's so many layers to it the more you look.
There are so many layers to it. And, you know, for us, it's how do we break down those layers for people and really make it understandable in bite-sized bits? Because the people that are coming to us already don't feel good. They're already tired and overwhelmed. And so, one, how do we really start to break that down for them? And, you know, the perspective of longevity to me gets me. And that is the buzzword. It's such a hot topic. But I'm like, longevity doesn't start when you're 35 because you don't want to get older. It's longevity really starts in the womb and then really from birth, what we're doing with our kids and how we're feeding them. And this is why we've seen the decline in longevity and long lives is because we're eating crap and we're living in cruddy places and we're not taking care of ourselves the way that we should. So really, I'm like, longevity starts at birth, y'all.
That's a good, yeah, it's a good perspective because really if you bring it back 70 years, people were growing things in their garden. There wasn't the supermarket, there wasn't the click and collect delivery or home delivery or Uber Eats or any of these things. And you would have time to be able to make food because you had to, because there wasn't a ready meal. And you wouldn't have all of these ingredients that make things last forever. And people would be spending time outside because you wouldn't have your screens because the internet didn't exist and people would actually go to bed earlier because didn't have a light bulb, so it got dark, by 7 p.m. and what else are you going to do? You might make it through till 8:30, but then it's going to get pretty boring if you only have a candle and a book because Netflix wasn't a thing. And the more you think about our lifestyle, and then even two parents out working, suddenly kids are dropped off at childcare or kids just have a packed dinner rather than a home cooked dinner. And then because everybody's so busy, you don't actually have the time to put proper snacks in when you can just grab a chocolate bar. And there's so many different levels that you look at. And again, it's not making anyone feel bad for any of these decisions because it's how our society is set up at the minute, and it's difficult and things are very expensive, and a lot of people have to both work and send their kids to childcare because that's the only way they can afford things. But I think it, as you said, the really examples of, getting washing up liquid that actually isn't toxins, that you can get stuff which doesn't have the toxins that still washes your dishes, to get laundry detergent that doesn't have that awful, awful chemicals in it and awful scented things like that are really going to agitate your skin and your children's skin as well. It is those examples, isn't it? But as you say, I love how you said, it's literally before you're born. It's the whole upbringing.
Absolutely, it absolutely is. And I think that, you know, that discussion of longevity is we need to change that perspective of we're focusing on people in their midlife. No, way down here, way down the line, we need to be focusing on it. It really starts at birth. It starts with mom's eating,
Yeah.
drinking, sleeping.
So Piper, to close off, someone's listening to this and they're like, yeah, I get it. I really agree. And you know what? I'm trying my best, but I don't really know where to start. What should they be focusing on? What's your advice to them, the people who are trying hard but not really sure how to approach this holistic health? What would you say to them?
Yeah, the first step I would say if you're really trying to do it on your own is get a whole foods diet. Change your diet. And when I say whole foods, you know, we're talking about meats, fish, fruits, vegetables. Stay out of the processed, packaged, bar-coded bologna in your store. You know, eating the eggs and the meats and the fruits and veggies, that's going to be your best bet. Avoiding the processed sugary stuff. It is a great place to start. And there's so many resources. I mean, you can Google, you can get cookbooks. Pinterest is a wealth of recipes for things gluten-free, dairy-free, paleo, whatever the case may be. Paleo is a great diet because it's getting rid of all that processed stuff. Um, you can find so many recipes. So really looking at how you can change the diet and the lifestyle. But if you really want to dig deep, it's about finding someone who really starts to know how to connect those dots for you. Like, let's look at the stool pathogen testing. Let's look at the organic acids testing. Let's look at your genetics and how does it all play a role together.